Okay, last session we discussed about variables in TypeScript. Variables in TypeScript. So we learned about how to declare variables and what are the various limitations for declaring variables. I clearly explained the various methods. So we discussed the difference between var, let, and const. And some more naming conventions we declared. Yeah. Now another important, after understanding about variables, we need to know about data types. Data types. Actually, data type is nothing but data type determines the type of value that can be stored in a memory reference. That means when you are declaring variables, we need to determine what type of value that a variable can hold or handle. Data type determines the type of value that can be stored in a memory reference. What type of value you can store in a memory reference? That is determined by using data type. And very important is actually JavaScript is implicitly typed language. Implicitly typed language. What does that mean? Means the data type for any memory reference will be determined according to the value assigned. So JavaScript is implicitly typed language. Implicitly typed language means the data type will be determined for the memory reference according to the value assigned. For example, that means we don't have any predefined types to define. So that is a problem for handling data. That is one of the major problem in handling the data. For example, if I say, what does this means actually? That means var x equal to 10. That means now x is number type. And var x is equal to some John. So this is string type. That means the data type will be determined according to the value assigned, whatever the value you assigned or initialized. So value assigned or initialized. But one of the major problem with JavaScript is it is not strongly typed. Means JavaScript is not strongly typed. JavaScript is not strongly typed. What is that means? That means the data type that you define for variables are not strictly restricting the value. That means the types will not strictly restrict the value, will not strictly restrict the value. It allows to render any value. That is the problem with JavaScript. The main issue with JavaScript is it is not strongly typed. The types will not strictly restrict the value. For example, suppose I said, so var x is equal to 10. That means it is number. And immediately I rendered, I am not declaring, I am rendering a string value into it later. So this is a string type and this is valid. Later, if I put some true into it, that means this is boolean and it is also valid. But actually you declared and initialized the value as number. After declaring initializing as number, can you store a string into it? Yes, JavaScript allows. But in strictly typed programming languages, it should not allow. That means we don't want to allow any another type of value once the value is determined. We want it to handle strictly only that specific type of value. So that means JavaScript problem is it is implicitly typed and it is not strongly typed. That is the problem with JavaScript. But important is TypeScript. TypeScript is a strongly typed language. TypeScript is a strongly typed language. It is a strongly typed language. Strongly typed language means the data type defined for any variable will allow only that specific type, The data type defined for any variable will allow only the specific type. So it will not allow to render another type. That means explicitly we have to define the data type for variable. Explicitly we have to define the data type for variable. And very important is according to the value defined. TypeScript can strictly restrict the value. According to the value defined, TypeScript can strictly restrict the value. Value type strictly can restrict the value type even when the type is not defined. That means even you don't define the type, it can strictly restrict that value. Even you don't define the type, it can strictly restrict the value. That means